Hello, YouTube. I'm not feeling too well today. I kind of got a cold or whatever, but I'm kind of sick. But I just decided to make a video since I feel like I haven't been putting out enough content for you guys, and I greatly apologize for that. So even in my current state where I sound pretty sick or whatever, I'm gonna make this video and I'm gonna put it out tonight because I've let you down. I haven't really made a lot of videos for you guys that I feel like I should have, and I need to be putting out more content. That's my own fault. So this is going to be part one of a three-part series called "The State of Gaming." You know, like the State of the Union addresses that the president gives and stuff. It's going to be similar to that. So I'm going to be discussing 2 issues per episode, and this week I'm going to be covering DLC and esports, or esports a sport, and how DLC is good or bad. It depends. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Well, we're gonna start with DLC. DLC isn't inherently bad. So what I've been seeing a lot on the internet nowadays, which obviously you can't really like trust everything you read on the internet, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But DLC isn't inherently bad. Neither is Day One DLC. Honestly, DLC can be good or bad. It just depends how it is done. So if you really want to like put DLC under a microscope, you'll actually realize that DLC does help the gaming community because it raises money for publishers and developers that you guys like. And if you really don't want the DLC, you just gotta vote with your wallet. Don't buy it. Simple as that. Um, DLC can be extremely bad though. There is cases. So I'm just gonna give you a couple examples, like a lot of EA games, such as Plants vs Zombies 2, Peggle Fever, UFC, FIFA, Real Racing, or Destiny. The Destiny DLC House of Wolves. They actually straight up lied about not. They didn't give you a raid for House of Wolves. That is just the dumbest thing ever. But so we can go on 2 sides of the spectrum here. So on one side we have the Destiny House of Wolves DLC, and we have EA. But on the other side, you have free DLC, which you're getting from certain companies, such as the people at the people who made Shovel Knight, Yacht Club Games. They're giving you three free DLC packs coming with certain playable characters, new levels, etc., etc. And they're not the only people who do this. The people Techland who make Dying Light, they're actually putting out free DLC packs pretty often too. But they are doing some paid ones. That's honestly fine. If they want to charge for something that they make, this is another thing. I'm going to lead this conversation into the paid mods discussion. Not yet, though. But I'll talk about that later, since that has to do with DLC, kind of. So yeah, Dying Light does it very well. And Shadows of Mordor offered you free DLC. If So you're just going to say DLC is bad, okay? Then you're also putting all of these games, which literally give you free content in DLC, you're putting them out in the cold. Not to mention the fact that Rockstar, they had like a whole, like, basically the only reason I play GTA now is because of the heists. And that was free. That was a free update, and I'm pretty sure on past gen it was a DLC. Sorry. Along with all the other like update packs they have, you know, like the business update or the high life update, all that kind of stuff. The flight school update, all that stuff was DLC on past gen. Obviously, it came bundled in with the next gen version, but that was DLC, and that's free. So you can't just go generalizing and saying that DLC is bad. For one thing, DLC can be very good in those cases, and it can be very bad in certain cases like Destiny. You really can't overgeneralize here. But I find that sometimes the bad does outweigh the good. Like Evolve, you have to buy stupid character skins and all that stuff. But like honestly, if you don't want it, just vote with your wallet. Like I said before, if you don't want the character skins, don't buy the character skins. Simple as that. If you It's Mortal Kombat. If you don't want to buy Goro because you think that he should have been included in the normal game, then don't buy him. But if you think he should have been included in the normal game and you wanted him, then maybe you could have pre-ordered it if you really wanted the character. I mean, obviously it's incentivizing you to pre-order their game, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because they're selling copies of the game. They're just getting. You got to look at it from a business standpoint and not just yourself. These publishers and developers are out here to make money. They're not just out there to just give their game out like, oh, here's a ton of free stuff. Like obviously the people at Yacht Club and Techland and WB Games, are doing this pretty well, like with Shadows of Mordor, Shovel Knight, and Dying Light, and Rockstar with GTA. But even Rockstar, they did charge for Ballad of the Gay Tony and Liberty City Stories in GTA 4, and they liked those DLCs. They just didn't think that that's the approach they should have with GTA 5, and I think it's actually been slightly more successful in GTA 5, just because people got these free experiences that they really loved. And honestly, they added some really cool content that's been significant, such as the Zentorno and all that stuff. Like, it literally, like, the game is completely different than how it launched because they added these free expansions to the game. And this is why DLC is a good thing. Don't generalize and say it's a bad thing when it's actually a good thing. I'm not going to say that it's like, oh yeah, it depends how you see it. It's a good thing pretty much no matter what, no matter how you cut it. Because if you don't want it, don't pay for it, okay? Just think about it that way. And also, even if you think about the Call of Duty map packs, those aren't even bad DLCs if you think about the fact that you're just adding 4 maps, then yeah, you might think they're bad. But how much do you think that you'd be interested in Call of Duty if they just released the one thing, even if they included the 4, 8, 12, the 16 extra maps that would come out in DLC? If they included those in the full game, do you think you would be playing it for as long, even if they did come with the game? No, you wouldn't. You're going to play it because the DLCs come out. So they keep you playing the game, and it's good for them. They make money towards the next Call of Duty to make it better. And obviously Call of Duty needs to be better, as you heard in my podcast on the most recent episode of One Up Weekly. But yeah, like, the Call of Duty map packs are a good way of keeping you playing and keeping you invested, especially when they added the zombies map. You could play those things for months and not know everything about them. Treyarch, I really love you. Like, you make Call of Duty worth it for me. Just keep that in mind if you're watching this video, which I know you're not, since I'm not that big. But hey, you know what? And even you. Okay, I'm talking about Mortal Kombat briefly here. Mortal Kombat, yeah, the DLC is pretty stupid. Okay, like I said, Goro. Okay, whatever. You have to buy Goro. He was in the other games. Who cares? You have to buy Jason, Predator, or whatever. Who even cares? Okay, if you want those characters, which a lot of people do, then you can just buy them. It's really not a big deal. You can support the developer. They gave you the game you're playing, so I mean, you already bought the $60 game, I know, but they give you more than enough content in the $60 game. You shouldn't expect more if they're giving you enough. I mean, I can see if it's like a game like The Order 1886. If that had a ton of Day 1 DLC, okay, you can get pissed about that. Okay, there wasn't enough content in that game to start out with, and if they were including extra content in DLC, that's one thing. But Mortal Kombat X has more than enough to keep you satisfied for a long term. Sorry, I'm opening a soda here. But yeah, so you really don't have to worry about, like, just playing the game and run out of stuff to do. In Mortal Kombat, you got new towers, faction stuff like that. You can obviously there's 3 different styles to every character now, so you can just go around and master all those, and even the easy fatalities. Okay, honestly, what is hurting you about the easy fatalities? Tell me that. What about easy fatalities in Mortal Kombat is bothering everybody so much? Okay, obviously it's kind of stupid that you can buy them. It's just dumb. And you're dumb if you, no offense to you, but it's kind of dumb if you buy them. And like, what's the point? Fatalities aren't that hard, anyways. I mean, brutalities. Don't get me started. Those things are practically impossible. But fatalities are kind of easy. So if you're gonna buy them, then like whatever, you buy them if you want. Just because like you can't hit a couple buttons, obviously you don't have enough skill. Like practically, you're not even gonna be able to use them anyways. So I don't really see the point of buying them. Except like they do make it easier. I mean, whatever, it's fine. You want to buy them, you want to buy them. That's your own choice, and you can still do normal fatalities in the game. It's not like it's taking something out of the game and putting it in there as DLC. It's literally just something that's there, separate. There's a different option, and if you want that, then whatever. That's fine. Like I said, this sort of does merge into the paid mod situation in modern gaming that people were talking about on Steam, okay? People were flipping out, like, I don't want to pay for mods. I'm an entitled person on the internet. I shouldn't have to pay for anything. People spend hours of their hard work, doing this thing with making all these mods, but I don't want to pay for any of that. I'm entitled. I should get my mods for free. Meh, meh, meh. Okay? If you want to have people pay for your mods, have people pay for your mods. It doesn't matter, okay? They make the content, they should set the price. That is how the free market works. You shouldn't expect everything for free. Okay, let's just put it out there. The donate button, whatever they're adding that, sure, that's all fine and dandy. And if they want to put it out there, they're probably not making much anyways. If Valve only gives them 40%, they're making 40 cents at a dollar mod they have on Skyrim. Like, does it really make sense for you to complain about something that costs $1 that the developer's only getting 40 cents of? Like, you really shouldn't complain about that. You're not paying too much, and you're supporting the developer that made the mod. And maybe they'll want to make more mods to make more money. More things get done when you put money into the system. That's how Kickstarter works. That is how capitalism works. That is how the free market works, okay? And if you don't want it, then that's too bad. Because that's how traditionally things are run. Obviously, mods weren't run like that forever, because mods used to just be like, oh yeah, look, I can make my head big in whatever Doom or what. Like, that's not significant. Like, basically anyone could go in and change that. But once mods start becoming their own story, they're adding on like 20 hours worth of additional content, then yeah, you're gonna want to charge for it. It's basically DLC, except people want it for free just because it has the title mod and it's not made by the official developer. That doesn't make any sense. If you develop a product and you want to charge for it, you should be able to, okay? So I think that about wraps that discussion up. So I'm going to move on to esports. If you're not familiar with esports are basically what they're calling MLG now. So Major League Gaming, esports, blah, blah, blah. So people... Recently, there's been a debate. I'm not completely familiar with the story. I haven't heard too much about it, but basically this guy from ESPN was like, oh, I don't want to cover esports on ESPN. It's really stupid. Basically, no one likes video games, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't really care. He can react how he wants. To each his own. Whatever. But what I want to talk about mainly is, are esports sports? This is another issue with modern gaming that I have. People just get so hung up over the fact, oh yeah, esports are sports. Oh yeah, they're sports. They're sports. Or they're not sports. They're not sports. Oh, esports are never sports. I'm a gamer. I play esports, and I don't think they're sports. Whatever. I mean, it really doesn't matter at all. Okay? So if you want to try and tell me that an esport is as physically intensive as football, you're lying. I'm talking about American football or European football, which is just soccer here. But either way, it's not as physically intensive. You can try to tell me that, I mean, maybe it does take the same degree of skill and practice, which is why you might want to call it a sport. But marching band's not a sport. I don't think it's a sport. But I think that if you want to be in the top level marching band group, then you're going to have to work, and you're going to have to practice. And maybe it'll take the same amount of skill as it might take to play League of Legends at a competitive level, or the same amount of skill that it'll take to play football at a competitive level. It might not, but you can't really compare those two on a fundamental level since they're completely different. And even though marching band is physical, I don't consider that a sport. And if you're going to try to consider esports a sport, then I think you got another thing coming, because they're not sports. But if you want to call them sports, that's fine with me. I don't really care, but I don't think they are. Who cares, honestly? But people, okay, so are esports, like, if we're going into the definition of a sport, and if chess is a sport, and if NASCAR is a sport, if those two are sports, if you can consider chess and NASCAR a sport, then I do think it's a sport. But personally, I don't think those two are sports, and I'll explain why. Well, I do, actually, chess is more, maybe even a sport than NASCAR. NASCAR and esports are the most similar on this list, and I'll tell you why. Okay. With football, you can just go to Walmart, buy a football, and you can just go throw the football in your backyard, okay? Or with soccer, you just go get a soccer ball, play soccer in your backyard, okay? With chess, you literally just gotta go buy a chessboard. That's it. Okay, nothing mechanical or assisted, okay? Nothing's assisting you, and you're not using anything like special, like... But think about this. With NASCAR, you need to buy a car. It's nothing like physical, nothing that you would need a special tool for. NASCAR, you literally need a car, okay? So you have to drive the car, and you're using the motor, you're manipulating the motor. And it's the same thing with video games. You need a PS4. Like, obviously, you could go to Walmart and buy a PS4, but if you've never played a game before, then you're just not going to want to go, you're not going to be able to go in and beat a game. Like, It's just doesn't work like that. NASCAR is the same way. Obviously, those guys are professionals. They have highly honed skills, and I agree with the same thing with video games. But there's something different about something being assisted, which is also why I don't consider marching band a sport. It's assisted. Okay, it's not even about the physicality. I don't consider chess a sport either, but I don't think it's not quite on the same level because there's rules and stuff like I don't know. I don't know why I don't consider chess a sport, and it's probably just because it's not physical enough, honestly. But I do consider golf a sport. Okay, took golf a long time maybe to be called a sport, but hey, it's a sport. Honestly, it's a sport. Think about it. You have to be very precise, and it's literally all you need to do is have a golf club and a ball. You don't need a golf club with a giant motor on it or a golf club with 8 gigabytes GDDR5 RAM, or a golf club with a 500 gigabyte hard drive, or a golf club with a V8 engine, or a golf club. You don't need any of that stuff. Golf is you just hitting the ball, and it's all about how precise you are. It's all about your arm movements. It's all about your physique. It really all depends, and it takes a lot of practice to be good at golf. I'm not saying it doesn't for League of Legends or Dota or Counter-Strike, any of those games, but I do think that golf is a sport, just because if you really think about it, it comes down to the fact that you really don't need much for it. Like, it's not a mechanical process. And that is why maybe these games like chess or football or soccer or basketball or I don't know. Like I wouldn't consider hunting a sport either because again that's mechanical. Fishing might I would maybe not. I wouldn't really consider fishing a sport either because like again it's extremely mechanical. If you're getting something without any like mechanics, like a chessboard is a piece of wood with other pieces of wood. A football is a piece of like leather with air inside of it. A soccer ball is a piece of whatever it's made out of with air inside of it. A basketball is a piece of rubber with air inside of it. Like, it's all simplistic, and a golf club is just like a piece of metal with, and you're hitting a little ball that can be anything. Like literally, all of these things come down to the simplicity, and that's why they're sports. Okay, if you want to call all those sports, they come back to the common ground. Okay, you realize that they're sports for a reason. I haven't heard this mentioned too much, but it's honestly just because the level of mechanicalness. But honestly, who really cares if they're sports? If you like esports, go watch esports. I don't mind. If they're sports, if they're not sports or not, it doesn't matter to me. If you like esports, go watch them. It's like saying, oh, if you like it, it's like complaining about like our video games. Like I heard this comparison and the kind of funny thing about this ESPN guy or whatever. Like I'm obviously sick. Well, I was sick while I was listening to it, even more sick than I was now. But yeah, they basically just said that like are video games art. You want to argue about if video games are art or not? That's fine. Okay, but honestly, why does it matter? A game's a game, so it doesn't. If it's art, the label shouldn't matter. Okay, just think about this with everything you like. If you're not a hardcore gamer and you want to be considered a hardcore gamer, then it doesn't matter. You're a hardcore gamer to you. That's whatever. You do your own. Okay, be yourself. You don't let a label define you or what you like. Okay, this is generally how it'll go in life. People are going to call you dumb. People are going to call you stupid. But as long as you know you're not stupid, that doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't matter at all. You're the one who defines yourself. And that is my words of wisdom, not just for gaming, not just for anything. It's just for life in general. Labels, don't abide by them. Be yourself. Okay? And this will wrap up part 1 of 3 of State of Gaming. You can follow me on Twitter at LonelyNerdYT. You can listen to 1UP Weekly on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/1UpWeekly, or you can check it out on my Bud How To Schoolers channel. He's in my featured channel, so you can check that out. And I'm on the most recent episode of 1UP Weekly, finally, so you can check that out too. It's pretty good. We talk about overdone franchises, which actually kind of ties into this DLC conversation. And I'll be discussing that myself somewhere within the next 2 episodes of this State of Gaming series I have going. But yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, thank you. Have a great day, guys.